Wanderers, Remnant 2's second DLC, The Forgotten Kingdom, is here, and with it comes new and elusive weapons ready for you to hunt down. Some are hidden in plain sight, while others are just downright hard to find, but regardless, we are here to help you find them all. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and today we're breaking down 5 incredible weapons and where to find them in Remnant 2's new DLC. Let's start off with a freebie, the shovel, a weapon we're not counting as one of the 5 hidden weapons in this video, but don't let its simple appearance fool you. This thing has some real value. Just like in the previous DLC, the team snuck in a new weapon at Brabus, and you can pick up the shovel for 500 scrap. At first glance, it's nothing special. It has a baseline damage of 55, a critical hit chance of 15%, deals 100% weak spot damage, and a 0% stagger modifier. All things considered, mediocre, but where this weapon truly shines is in its utility. Instead of a heavy attack, you can actually dig into the ground. Each dig has a high chance of spawning both ammo for your primary and secondary weapon. This makes the shovel incredible for ammo economy, and you can even swap to it between encounters to top off your reserves without needing to reset the world at a checkpoint. Additionally, each dig has a very small chance of digging up a Mudtooth XP elixir. Not only is it great to get these for free every so often, but this can also be a game changer in a hardcore run where scrap is tight and you want to gain XP quickly. At this point, we're not sure if any other secrets are tied to digging, but it's a safe bet Gunfire Games, the masters of secrets, hid something somewhere that requires the shovel. Our first true secret is another melee weapon, the Crystal Staff, which is the starting melee weapon for the brand new Invoker archetype. If you haven't checked out our video revealing how to unlock the new archetype and its armor set, definitely go check that out. The Crystal Staff is a weapon you'll come across naturally during your DLC playthrough, but only if you do the optional dungeon hidden behind the waterfall at the start of the Ancient Canopy. You'll need to progress through this next zone, the Infested Abyss, clearing out each root nexus on your way to the end of the dungeon. After you've cleared the third and final root nexus, you'll drop into a new room. Against the back wall, propped against the side of an open sarcophagus, is the Crystal Staff. No tricks, no secrets, it's just there. The Crystal Staff is tailor-made for those looking to embrace either a shock or elemental build, as it leans heavily into shock and overload damage modifiers, and when utilized in a proper build, this weapon is actually nuts. By default, you'll be able to swing this weapon like any other staff, but when you heavy melee, you'll empower the staff for the next 10 seconds, activating its baked-in mod, Power Stone. When empowered, melee attacks launch energy bolts that seek out enemies within 20 meters. Each bolt deals 100 shock damage, while also granting 1 stack of Power Stone up to a max of 10 stacks. If you do another charge melee attack while still empowered, you'll slam the staff into the ground, sending out a shockwave that deals 150 shock damage and consumes all Power Stone stacks. For each stack consumed, you'll release 1 lightning bolt that strikes a random nearby enemy and applies overload to them for 10 seconds. Not only is the Crystal Staff a solid melee weapon, but it can also be a potent ranged and AoE tool that scales insanely well off of shock and elemental damage, pairing well with the Ritualist, Archon, or Invoker builds. Alright, one last melee weapon before we switch to guns, but don't tune out because this next weapon is a good one. Mirage is one of 2 weapons you can obtain from the new Lydusa world boss. As you're progressing through the new DLC zones, you'll eventually find yourself in Luminous Vale, standing by a lever with a giant statue of a Geisha goddess smack dab in front of you. In order to get this lever to actually work, you need to keep progressing your adventure, passing through a connecting dungeon before coming out in an area above the statue called Primal Hollow. Clear the root corruption blocking the water and take the elevator back down to Luminous Vale. With the water running, pull the lever and the statue will shift and you'll have access to the inner chamber where you'll find the quest item, Cherished Fracture. Once you have this item, do not, I repeat, do not speak with Lydusa's fractured spirit in the Bloodless Throne. That will send you down the path of fighting her, and we don't want that this time. Instead, take the Cherished Fracture to Goddess Rest, which you should have if you're on your one-shot adventure. In Goddess Rest, you'll need to activate 5 pylons which will light 5 braziers on top of the temple. Work your way through the zone, fighting and activating each pylon until all 5 braziers are lit, and make your way to the temple door. Inside the temple, you'll notice an offering bowl. Sacrifice the Cherished Fracture, and the reformed Lydusa will materialize before your eyes. Fully restored, she'll thank you and gift you the Blossoming Core material. Take this back to McCabe in Ward 13 to craft the very cool and incredibly powerful flail, Mirage. The weapon's baked-in mod, Cyclone, is activated by holding down a charged melee attack. You'll begin swinging the flail overhead, forming a 5-meter sand cyclone so long as you maintain the attack. Not only does this pull enemies towards the player, but the cyclone also deals 55 damage per second, in addition to whatever Mirage itself is also hitting for. Each hit from Cyclone also applies the Exposed debuff for 3 seconds, up to a max of 15 seconds, which increases damage taken from all sources by 15%. With the melee weapons out of the way, let's talk about new guns, starting right back with Lydusa. The first weapon on the docket is Monolith, which is easily in my top 5 favorite guns in terms of aesthetic and performance. Just like with Mirage, you first need to obtain the Cherished Fracture, but this time, head back to the Bloodless Throne and speak with the shattered form of Lydusa. She'll attempt to reconstruct herself, but it'll fail, and now she's pissed at you. Go figure. This will trigger the end boss fight for the DLC, and once you've killed her, you'll obtain the crafting material Lydusa's Eye. As usual, head back to Ward 13, and McCabe will craft you this otherworldly weapon. Stat-wise, Monolith is solid, boasting 33 base damage, a magazine size of 80, a max ammo capacity of 320, a critical hit chance of 5%, an 85% weak spot damage modifier, and a negative 20% stagger modifier. But where the weapon really shines is when you lean into its ability to apply the Exposed debuff. Simply by maintaining your beam on the target, or when your mod is applied and damaging an enemy, you'll apply Exposed for 1 second up to a max of 15 seconds. That means just dealing damage is making your enemy immediately take 15% more damage, but wait, it gets better. The weapon's baked-in mod Sandstorm allows the player to launch a sphere of loam at the target location. The impact creates a 5-meter wide swirling storm of sand that seeks to center itself on an enemy, dealing 225 elemental damage per second, and remember, also applying Exposed. This lasts for 15 seconds, and even if the target dies while Sandstorm is active, the Sandstorm will seek out a new enemy within 10 meters, which is simply insane. This weapon synergizes extremely well with skills and gear that lean into several things. Exposed is the main feature you can capitalize on, but things like negative status effects, dot damage, and even elemental loadouts can take full advantage of Monolith's awesome power. It's a weapon like no other, and one we think everyone will love using. The premier weapon of the Forgotten Kingdom DLC is quite literally the weapon that kickstarted it all. First revealed back in the DLC's launch trailer, the Trinity Crossbow was top of our list of weapons to find while we were combing through the dungeons of Yesha. Finding this weapon takes a bit of persistence, but nothing you can't handle. The first step in the journey to find the Trinity Crossbow is to reach the Luminous Veil. This is the lower part of the overworld map you reach after speaking to Lydusa the first time when she's in spirit form. Somewhere in Luminous Veil is a quest item called Trinity Memento, but where it spawns in your world will be entirely random. There are 3 locations the memento can spawn. One spawn location is on the suspension bridge at the top of the zone. You reach this spot by using the elevator inside the small temple hallway. If you move through the hallway and out the other side, you'll reach a small jungle section overlooking the back side of the map. This is the potential spawn location for another piece. The third piece can potentially spawn in the opposite corner of the map. To the right of the massive stone statue is a small waterway. Work your way through until you reach a small cave towards the back and another piece of the Trinity Memento. As the name suggests, you're not completing this in one run. Do the math here, folks. You're running the Forgotten Kingdom 3 times to get 3 pieces required to unlock the Trinity Crossbow. Here's the thing though, each piece needs to be turned in before you reset your world. With your first piece in hand, head back to Ward 13 and talk to Dwell. That's right, your friendly neighborhood Pan is the key to this entire secret. Once you turn in your first piece of the Trinity Memento, reset your world, ideally in adventure mode for expediency, and then run it again. Repeat these steps until you have all 3 Trinity Memento pieces, remembering to turn them in each time before resetting your world. Once you turn in that final piece, Dwell will reward you with the amulet Echo of the Forest. The amulet itself is fine, but it's what the amulet reveals that really matters. First, a bonus secret. If you wear this amulet and talk to the nearly destroyed stone construct in the middle section of the ancient canopy, you can communicate with it, and after a bit of back and forth, unlock the Stone Shaper's Chisel. This is a fun little item that I could see working in a number of builds, but again, that's not what we're here for. No, the real prize was right in front of our eyes from the very beginning of our adventure. Head back to the first world stone at the start of the ancient canopy. Head up the hill until you reach the secret waterfall entrance, take that fateful leap and make your way down and turn left. There you'll notice a wall with, would you look at that, an image of the Echo of the Forest amulet. Make sure the amulet is equipped, walk up to the wall, and a secret stairwell will reveal itself. Descend to the bottom, and there on a pedestal is the Trinity Crossbow. I'll admit I haven't experimented with this too much, but it's certainly a unique item, firing 3 projectiles at a time. It is semi-automatic, but it does require a bit of a reset between each shot. Shockingly, the weapon doesn't have a baked-in mod, so you can really customize it to your heart's content, which is unique given the other offerings of the DLC. Either way, you now have yourself a shiny new crossbow to call your own. Last but certainly not least is a primary weapon I think a lot of players have missed, even though it was right under their nose. We're talking, of course, about Thorn, the Halo Needler adapted for the Remnant 2 player base. If you want to watch our full video breaking down the secrets of the Curry egg, well, that's linked right here, but in this video, we're looking at just the weapon. When you come across the Curry egg in the Ancient Canopy, enter the nest, observe the egg, but don't pick it up. You could say, oh, what a nice egg, but resist that urge to go and cook it and be on your merry way. Progress through the world and make your way through the main zones until you meet Lydusa and reach the Luminous Veil. At this point, you'll have triggered the event and can teleport back to the beginning of the Ancient Canopy. Make your way back up to the nest, and what you're greeted with is a bit disgusting to say the least. Papa Curry is grateful you didn't take his baby, and because you're a good wanderer, you're rewarded for your efforts with a new material, the regurgitated spiny sack. If you've already progressed your world and you didn't actually look at the egg in the first zone, you can technically still complete this, but it's a bit squirrely, so we recommend you reset your adventure mode if you want to guarantee the Curry graces you with its presence. Take your new item back to McCabe in Ward 13, and boom, a spiky, shooty weapon of death. This long gun fires out homing needles that deal damage to enemies upon impact. Once 5 needles stick in the target, they explode, dealing additional explosive damage. You can see that the weapon itself has relatively low damage, a decent fire rate, and a magazine capacity of 30. Because of its homing nature, accuracy really isn't a factor, but you do have to watch out for the ideal range of the gun. You can, of course, manipulate this with rings and an amulet, but for the most part, I never struggled with latching onto targets. A few more things to rattle off here. The weapon has 300 max ammo, a 10% critical hit chance, a 100% weak spot damage bonus, and a negative 10% stagger modifier. Thorn also comes with a baked-in mod called Deadwood, which changes the dynamic significantly. When activated, blowback is disabled, that's the explosion. You also gain 25% reload speed and 15% increased fire rate. Reactivating the mod will trigger Empowered Blowback, which detonates all needles at once for 100% additional damage. Thorn might not be the strongest weapon on paper, but it's a ton of fun to use, and you can absolutely build into its strengths and create an entire loadout around it. Like we said, it's Remnant's twist on an iconic Halo weapon, and I, for one, don't mind the ripoff. So there you have it, 5 insanely strong weapons you can pick up in the Forgotten Kingdom DLC. Let us know what you think of each weapon or share your favorites in the comment section below. As always, if you like our videos, drop us a like and consider subscribing so you never miss a new video. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.